We got some good new title fights for the new year to talk about for UFC. We got some very good finishes to NFL games on Sunday to talk about, as well as college football heating up after the first college football rankings were released last week and going into tonight as I'm recording this on Tuesday. But got some good things to talk about to end the podcast. So last, yours truly is here, a Joe Torn Love. Yeah, so for starters, so last night was Jets and the Chargers. Chargers won 27-6. It was a sad day for Jets fans. Sad day. I apologize to any Jets fans who watch me, but yeah, that was sad, especially from the offense. You know, on a 3-game win streak that, okay, you're feeling good, 4-3, just did those late heroics to beat the Giants. Now you're 4-3, you're feeling good. Aaron Rodgers again may return this season. We'll see. But nonetheless, the offense just hit a wall. And we can go on saying how that now without Rodgers, the offense has to play similar to last year. Great running game, great defense. Zach Wilson didn't have to do enough. And through this last month of games, starting with the Chiefs game, he started to play well. Similarly to last year. Thing is, it seems like they kind of went away from the game plan. Short passes, get the run game going well. Their defense kept them in as long as they could. But with Justin Herbert, who obviously is not 100%, sadly feels like until his finger is healed, the timing of his throws still feels a bit off. And, no Josh Palmer was out with knee injury. Still without Mike Williams for the rest of the year. It's going to be a challenge. But they found a way to win. It's good for them that they have Austin Eckler back. But, yeah, Chargers have life again. They're 4-4. Similarly to teams we saw throughout this past week, we're in that stage of, it's a great stage in the middle of the season because you start to see teams that got off to slow starts, start to find their groove. It's like Chargers now 4-4, Vikings now 5-4. You know, Texans now 4-4. I mean, you got some middle of the road teams you gotta keep an eye on. But so let's see where my notes go. Oh, there you go. Okay, so let's go over. So on Thursday, the Steelers, I mentioned on short, but Steelers won 2016. The mailman, aka Will Levis, he had a chance at the end of the game to get done, played another good game. It's just, in Pittsburgh, final drive, had a chance, just failed to execute, failed to get it done. And, Steelers 5-3 are so alive in a very competitive AFC North. All teams above 500. The London game, or Germany game, excuse me. Chiefs, Dolphins. So, Chiefs won 21-14. I only caught the end of it, but so Chiefs, after a defensive return for a touchdown, went up 21-0 at the end of the first half, but were scoreless the second half. And Dolphins, very similarly to the Titans. They scored 14 points, had a chance at the end. A lot of people criticize Tua, and I get it. But what I will say is, maybe it was Tua, maybe it was miscommunication with Cedric Wilson. Because you looked at the route. If Wilson was hit on the money by Tua, it would have been a touchdown, and probably the game-tying touchdown. Unless we have gotten overtime. But, one of those weird things. Tua wasn't ready for the snap on the last play of drive. There you go. Now, clearly Germany did affect these teams. At the same time, narratives continued. The Chiefs' offense still doesn't look great. And the weird thing about the Dolphins' offense now is, they beat teams that are supposed to beat, and they lose to above 500 teams. There you go. Josh Dobbs for the Vikings. Boy, did he come clutch in Atlanta. So, Josh Dobbs, we know the thing with Kirk Cousins. Towards Achilles, out for the rest of the season. Vikings on a roll. We can tell with that team, if you watch the post-game locker room after win over the Packers, you can tell they were a bit deflated. The vibe, energy in that locker room was not quite how you expect after a 2-touchdown win on the road against your rivals. So they trade for Josh Dobbs. He's there less than a week. Jaron Hall gets the start. And Taylor Heinicke, again, played another sound game for the Falcons. Besides a pick, play a sound game. And for a while, it looked like the Falcons were going to run away with this. But the Vikings defense has been much better than how it was last year. You can see the differences in Brian Flores' scheme. But yeah, after the Calais Campbell safety, I thought that was it. Again, that last touchdown by the Falcons in the fourth quarter, I thought that was it. But Josh Dobbs, came in after the first drive, played very well. Threw the game-winning touchdown with less than 30 seconds left. Geez, that was something. Ravens played very soundly against the Seahawks, and what could have been one of the games of the day was not. Ravens won, suffocating the Seahawks. Seahawks had a couple drives to try to get things going, try to get in this game, but they just couldn't. And Ravens awarded a gift to the Niners. Browns blew out Clayton Tune in his first start. Said that this is how it was, but Browns, arguably the best defense in the league. Got out Clayton Tune in his first start for the Cardinals, and it just didn't look pretty. Yeah. Deshaun Watson had a better day. Wasn't a great day, but it didn't need to be with that defense, We can say all we want about Baker Mayfield and what this team would look like with Baker instead of Deshaun Watson. The reality is, they arguably have the best defense. If Deshaun can just look close to how he was, stay healthy, then he can win a lot of games for the Browns this season. Even though they traded Donovan Peoples-Jones. In Green Bay, again, another sluggish game, but Jordan Love and it seems like they're a second half team, but they pulled away 20-6 against the Rams in Green Bay. Luke Musgrave has his first touchdown. Great for him. Brett Rippon, it wasn't pretty. The Rams signed Carson Wentz actually today. So it's something to try to be insurance for Matthew Stafford. I think there's reports said that they're hopeful, because they're on a bye this week, they're hopeful that he'll return after the bye. We'll see. But Packers get a much-needed win. And what I think many would say was the game of the week for the NFL Texans, CJ Stroud hosting Baker Mayfield, and the Bucks. In the end, CJ Stroud outdueled the Baker. They won 39-37. Last minute touchdown by CJ Stroud. I tell you, what he's doing to help propel these Texans to 4-4, that's something. This is something. Baker played a very good game. Ultimately, the defense just could not make a stop in the end. It's also crazy that Texans do not have a kicker for the second half. So, interesting there. Patriots put up a fight, but made it close. But in the end, Washington Commanders, Sam Howell, played well in the second half. Got done 20-17 in New England. Patriots had a 7-point lead and then had a chance to tie it at the end. But Juju, couldn't corral pass and then ultimately was picked. Game of inches. So there you go. Which we'll talk about another game in a bit. Another pretty good game this weekend was the Saints hosting the Bears. 24-17 were the Saints. They moved up to 5-4. Derek Carr played another good game. More of what they expected first when they acquired him. Tyson Bagent had a better game than it was last week against Chargers, but ultimately it was enough. 3 picks, and the game-clinching fumble for the Saints in the end. So there you go. Also, 10-10-10 for Taysom Hill. Very good. Talk about the great day of CJ Stroud. Well, Bryce Young, it was not pretty. Colts won in Carolina, 27-13. 2 pick sixes by the Colts. Got done. Gardner Minshew didn't have to do too much, but they got it done, and they are still alive. They are creeping up as well at 4-5. Or 5. Yeah, I think it's 4-5 or 5. Yeah, somewhere. Raiders have a newfound energy as they were smoking the cigars in the locker room after 36 over the Giants. And O'Connell starting. Yeah, a clean game. 209 yards passing. No picks, no touchdowns, but clean game. Had that long pass, to Trey Tucker down the field. That showed some life. Just the vibe of this team. They're 4-5 as well. But, who knows if they keep playing like this. Mad Max Crosby continues to play the way he's doing. They can make some noise down the stretch. Oh, the Cowboys. 28-23 were the Eagles. In a way, you could say the game was served to the Cowboys on a silver platter to win in the end, and they fumbled it away. I mean, One of the bad cases of this weekend was again the nothing the passer, roughing the passer, iffy penalties, which sucks. They really do suck to see whether you're going for the team or not. It just sucks to see. And in the end, the Cowboys had one of those on the final drive. Despite Dak, sent me out at the on a 2 point conversion, which could have led them to tying it up or potentially winning. And then that Luke Schoonmaker touchdown that was called back. In the end, Cowboys were set up 27 seconds left, down to the 10. No timeouts. They took a sack. Dak didn't spike the ball. Threw for a play, which took off more time. And then right away, last pick of the game, or last play of the game, didn't converge. CeeDee Lamb did catch it, but he was short. There we go. Eagles win. Bengals got Dodge as they won 24-18 over the Bills. The games we thought could be a shootout. In the end, it was 9. Joe Burrow and the Bengals again look healthier, better, get it done. Josh Allen, the Bills. Feels like the same narrative will still be about the Bills. Josh Allen has to do too much. The reality is, he is not done great, or he did not do great this game. And the fact is, they need to be more balanced. Find a way to run the ball more with James Cook or Latavius Murray. They signed Leonard Fournette for a reason. They have to get the ground game going to help out Josh Allen to make this a better offense. And I sent a comment earlier, or I believe yesterday, that a wild card position may be best for the Bills this year. I say it because, when you win the division, when, in Buffalo, there's obviously pressure. But, when you got a chip on your shoulder and, down the stretch, if they can maneuver their way into the playoffs as a wild card, assuming Miami doesn't fumble away the division, then it's totally possible that this could be what Buffalo needs. As I mentioned, the Chargers winning 27-6 earlier. There you go. But yeah, some fun finishes week 9. Number of very good games. We'll obviously chime in on part 2 later this week, or on Thursday, about the predictions for week 10. Said that it's now down to week 10, but yeah. So let's talk about what Dana White said. So some very good fights lead up for 2024. So Dana White mentioned the other day that as follows. So, in January, Israel Adesanya will not get an immediate rematch. It'll be Sean Strickland versus Dricus du Plessis. The original matchup, Sean Strickland came in on short notice after he denied that he would be healthy in time, and we know Strickland took down Adesanya. So that'll be a fun fight to see Strickland versus du Plessis. That will be interesting. February. So, yeah, you were curious to see how healthy Volkanovski would be after getting it. I mean, he took a head kick by Islam Makhachev. So, sometime to recuperate February against Ilya Topuria, who's 14-0, 6-0 in the UFC. Be another interesting test for Volkanovski, but, you know, Volkanovski's great, and Ilya, we'll see what he brings to the champs table. And then for March, Sugar Sean O'Malley in the Sugar Show will make his first defense as champion versus rematch against his only loss, Marlon Chito Vera. Of course, we know at that fight, O'Malley, his leg gave out, and ultimately Vera got the win. Ground pound for the finish. And it's going to be a fun test. The only guy to give, besides Peter Yan, the only guy to give O'Malley real trouble. Besides, I forgot that other guy who broke his foot, or when O'Malley broke his foot in the fight. So, yeah, it'll be an interesting test to see. But yeah, some good fights made for the new year. So we'll see. As far as college football as well, it was a fun test to see for this weekend. Got a number of fun games that went over. Most notably, Georgia and Missouri for one. Trying to find, here we go. So now currently number one, they took on Rutgers. And they were down at the half, 9-7. Rutgers is going in for potentially another score. But pick six by Ohio State basically turned the table. And they seized the lead since. Georgia took on then number 12 Missouri. Missouri gave a very good fight. But in the end, Georgia did just enough, to win 30-21. And what was a great game in the Coliseum between two Heisman favorites. Washington, Michael Penix Jr. outdueled Caleb Williams and USC 52-42. I mean, that was fun. Texas also did just enough to outlast Kansas State, their Big 12 rivals. Yeah, you know, Texas, they were ahead by 20, 27-7. And within a blink of an eye, Kansas State rallied back. And, you know, Kansas State, you know, they went for it in overtime, went for the win instead of going on for the tie and going for another stage overtime, but didn't happen. Bama, well, it was a fun game to start. Bama pulled away 42-28 over LSU. Big game there. Oklahoma State in the final game for a while, 27-24 over Oklahoma. Ole Miss rode back to beat A&M 38-35. Yeah, some fun games. Clemson, they beat Notre Dame, knocked them off 31-23. Big win after, looking bleak, a little bleak for Clemson this season. But yeah, some fun things go on this weekend. We'll obviously see about picks and stuff for part 2. But for part 1, this is fun this week. Hope you guys enjoy it. In this recap, a little bit of this week's events. Want to talk about some NBA scores as well. So, Joel Embiid had 48 the other nights for the 76ers. Some good stuff from this big giant, the current MVP of the league. We'll see. But yeah, Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards had 38 in their win over the Celtics. So some good stuff. But we'll talk more on part 2. Alas, part 1. Thank you guys. Leave a like. Thumbs up. Subscribe. Thank you guys. Peace. See you guys